Princess Anne, a Christmas present that delights Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. Unlike the noisy streets of London, where crowds bustled in holiday excitement, the palace itself had a gentler rhythm. Its grand halls, usually echoing with footsteps of busy staff, now hummed softly with preparations for Christmas. Outside, the trees were bare, their branches frosted with the first touch of winter's cold, while the snow on the palace grounds glistened faintly under the pale morning sun. Inside, the warmth of the fireplaces and the gentle scent of pine from the Christmas trees created an atmosphere that was both serene and festive. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, was known for her disciplined life and love of routine. She had spent decades in the royal family, learning the importance of duty, grace, and composure. Yet beneath her calm and confident exterior, there was a side of her that cherished the small joys of life, the ones that weren't seen in newspapers or captured in photographs. Christmas was one of those moments. It was a time when the usual pressures of public life eased slightly, allowing her to enjoy the quiet moments with her family. She looked forward to seeing the twinkle of lights, the simple laughter of children, and the heartfelt giving of gifts. Unlike some who might seek extravagant presents or grand gestures, Princess Anne valued thoughtfulness above all. She liked gifts that had meaning, gifts that reflected care and understanding. She had a reputation for practicality, preferring things that could be useful, meaningful, or tied to her personal interests. Over the years, her family and staff had learned this well, understanding that to make her smile, the gift needed to be carefully chosen with attention to detail, rather than mere wealth or luxury. The palace staff, who were like a small, loyal community, knew this instinctively. They moved quietly through the halls, discussing Christmas plans in hushed tones. Even the smallest detail mattered. The exact placement of ornaments on the tree, the way ribbons were tied, the subtle scent of pine that would fill the rooms. Everyone wanted Christmas at Buckingham Palace to feel special, warm, and personal, especially for Princess Anne, who appreciated such efforts more than anyone else. This particular December felt different. Perhaps it was the quiet anticipation in the air, or the subtle sparkle that seemed to linger in every corner of the palace. The staff sensed that this Christmas held something special, even before any gifts were wrapped or cards signed. Among the advisors and personal assistants, there was a sense of mission, to find a present that would truly delight the princess. It wasn't about the value of the gift, or whether it would impress the public. It was about touching her heart in a way that was genuine and memorable. Letters were exchanged between distant friends, family members, and artisans who had worked with the royal family for years. Each letter contained suggestions, small hints, or ideas about what might bring joy to the princess. Some recommended elegant items, carefully crafted by skilled hands. Others suggested experiences rather than objects, opportunities to connect with animals, history, or hobbies that Princess Anne loved. Every suggestion was considered carefully, measured against what the princess genuinely valued. There was no rush, no pressure. Each choice was weighed with care, as if the happiness of one person could be found in the details of a carefully wrapped gift. Princess Anne herself remained quietly unaware of the exact plans. She went about her daily routine as always, attending to royal duties, spending time with family, and enjoying the little freedoms that her position allowed. Yet even in the midst of official engagements, she noticed the subtle signs of Christmas approaching, the sparkle of lights along the palace corridors, the soft sound of music floating through the halls, the gentle aroma of cookies and festive treats being prepared in the kitchens. These small touches brought her a sense of comfort, reminding her that even in a life filled with responsibility, there was room for warmth and joy. The princess's love for animals was well known. Horses, in particular, held a special place in her heart. She spent hours in the stables, caring for the horses with patience and dedication. The palace gardens were also her refuge, where she could walk quietly, observing nature and enjoying the simple beauty of winter. These passions made her a difficult person to shop for in a traditional sense, but they also provided clues for those seeking the perfect gift. A thoughtful present that aligned with her love of animals, her appreciation for history, or her enjoyment of the outdoors would not only please her but show a deep understanding of who she was. Amid the palace preparations, there was a sense of gentle excitement among those close to Princess Anne. They knew that the perfect gift would be more than an object. it would be a gesture of connection, of thoughtfulness, and of care. Each person involved imagined her reaction, picturing the rare, genuine smile that would light up her face. It was a smile that few saw, but one that spoke volumes about her inner happiness and gratitude. To witness it, even briefly, was considered a special privilege. Even the palace itself seemed to join in the anticipation. The grand halls, lined with paintings and rich tapestries, seemed warmer somehow under the soft glow of Christmas lights. The chandeliers sparkled like stars, reflecting off the polished floors, while the scent of pine, cinnamon, and baked treats lingered in every room. Outside, the quiet snowfall added a magical touch, making the palace look like a scene from a storybook. For Princess Anne, this season was not about grandeur or public appearances. It was about the quiet moments, the laughter of family, and the small joys that made the holidays feel truly meaningful. As the days passed, the palace buzzed with activity, but always in a subdued and respectful manner. Gift wrapping was done with meticulous care, ribbons tied just so, and tags written with precision. Each package carried more than just a gift. It carried thought, effort, and the hope of bringing joy. Staff members whispered among themselves, sharing stories and ideas about what might delight the princess most. Even the smallest detail, a choice of wrapping paper, a ribbon color, or a carefully written note, was carefully considered. Princess Anne's anticipation was quiet but real. She looked forward to Christmas morning, not for the public spectacle, but for the private joy of family gatherings and thoughtful surprises. In her life of duty and responsibility, these moments were precious, a chance to pause, reflect, and share genuine happiness with those she loved. There was a calm excitement in her heart, a quiet hope that the season would be filled with warmth, connection, and perhaps a few small moments of unexpected delight. Among all the gifts, one in particular had been chosen with extraordinary care. It was a secret, known only to a select few who understood the princess's tastes and passions. They had spent weeks researching, consulting, and planning, ensuring that this present would not only please her but truly touch her heart. It was not the kind of gift that could be bought in any store or found on a shelf. It was unique, meaningful, and chosen with love. As Christmas approached, the palace seemed to hold its breath. The halls were quiet, the lights twinkled gently, and the snow continued to blanket the grounds outside. For Princess Anne, this was a time of reflection, joy, and anticipation. She moved through the palace with grace and composure, observing the festive decorations, enjoying the scent of baked treats, and appreciating the effort that everyone had put into making the season special. There was a sense of warmth and magic in the air, a feeling that something wonderful was about to happen, a moment that would become a cherished memory in the princess's long and remarkable life. As December deepened, the sense of excitement in Buckingham Palace grew, though it remained gentle and refined. Staff moved about with careful purpose, each step measured, each task executed with precision. The palace was a hive of quiet activity, filled with the rustle of paper, the soft clatter of fine china, and the occasional laughter of staff who took pleasure in the season's joys. Yet, despite all this bustle, there was a special mission at the heart of the holiday preparations, finding a gift that would truly delight Princess Anne. This was not a simple task. Princess Anne was known for her practical mind, her love for thoughtful gestures, and her strong connection to things that mattered deeply to her. She was not easily impressed by luxury alone or by flashy gifts. She valued meaning, utility, and personal touch. For anyone attempting to select a present for her, the challenge was significant. It was not enough to choose something beautiful. The gift had to be considered, personal, and reflective of her passions and personality. Among the palace staff, a select few had been quietly entrusted with this important responsibility. These were the people who knew the princess well, her private secretaries, personal assistants, and close advisors. They worked together like a small, devoted team, sharing ideas and suggestions in hushed tones as they navigated the maze of possibilities. Each member understood that this gift was not merely a tradition. It was an opportunity to show respect, understanding, and genuine thoughtfulness. Letters and notes flew back and forth between the palace and trusted friends who lived beyond its walls. Each letter contained careful suggestions about potential gifts. Some recommended elegant items that reflected craftsmanship and artistry, while others proposed experiences or opportunities that would bring joy in ways that material objects could not. There were ideas ranging from rare books to bespoke equestrian equipment, handcrafted pieces designed with the princess's interests in mind. Every suggestion was evaluated carefully, weighed against what was known about her tastes, preferences, and daily life. The advisors spent long hours considering every option. They discussed the personality of Princess Anne, her habits, and her passions. They thought about her love for horses, her care for animals, and her appreciation for history and heritage. Each potential gift was considered for its emotional resonance, its uniqueness, and the likelihood that it would genuinely touch her heart. The discussions were thorough, thoughtful, and sometimes even passionate. After all, the goal was to find something truly exceptional, not just ordinary or decorative. Visits to shops and workshops were carefully planned. Artisans, some of whom had worked with the royal family for years, were consulted about their work and the possibilities for creating something special. Delicate jewelry, handcrafted leather goods, and hand-stitched items were examined for quality and personal significance. Even the simplest objects were scrutinized for their potential to delight, with the understanding that the thought behind the gift was as important as the item itself. One advisor recalled a particular artisan who specialized in equestrian equipment. Princess Anne loved her horses, and any gift that could improve her care for them or enhance her riding experience would be deeply appreciated. The artisan explained the process of creating bespoke saddles, bridles, and other accessories. Each piece was carefully measured, tested, and refined, ensuring that it would meet the highest standards of comfort and functionality. This gift, while practical, carried a sense of intimacy and understanding, reflecting a deep awareness of the princess's passions. At the same time, other members of the palace staff explored gifts that connected to the princess's love of animals more broadly. She had a gentle and caring nature, always concerned for the well-being of creatures around her. Thoughtful gifts in this category were designed to enrich her experience with animals, whether through books, tools, or opportunities to engage in activities she loved. Each idea was carefully assessed to ensure that it would not only appeal to her intellect, but also touch her emotionally, showing that the giver truly understood her heart. Amid all these preparations, the advisors maintained secrecy. They understood that the joy of giving was magnified by the element of surprise. The princess should not know in advance what was coming. The delight had to be genuine, spontaneous, and heartfelt. The team worked quietly, often late into the evenings, coordinating logistics, arranging for delivery, and ensuring that each aspect of the gift would be perfect. They discussed wrapping materials, ribbons, and presentation, knowing that even the smallest details could enhance the moment of joy. The palace kitchens, too, contributed to the atmosphere of anticipation. Bakers prepared seasonal treats, each recipe carefully measured and timed. The scent of cinnamon, nutmeg, and fresh pine filled the halls, adding to the sense of warmth and comfort. Staff members often paused to enjoy these small pleasures, sharing moments of laughter and conversation as they moved about their duties. Even in the midst of serious planning for the gift, there was room for simple joys, and these shared moments strengthened the sense of community among those responsible for making Christmas special. Princess Anne, meanwhile, remained quietly engaged in her daily routine. She continued to attend to her official duties, meet with staff, and spend time with family, all while noticing the subtle changes in the palace as Christmas approached. The twinkling lights, the carefully arranged decorations, and the gentle sounds of festive music created an environment that felt both lively and serene. She observed these details with appreciation, recognizing the effort that everyone had put into making the season beautiful and meaningful. Though she did not know the specifics of her gift, she could sense the thoughtfulness that surrounded her. The energy in the palace was different during this time of year, more attentive, more careful, more focused on creating joy. For Princess Anne, these small signs of consideration and care were as meaningful as the gifts themselves. They reflected the dedication and respect of those around her, and they reminded her of the importance of connection and gratitude during the holiday season. As the days passed, the advisors continued their work with quiet determination. They checked details repeatedly, ensuring that measurements were correct, materials were of the highest quality, and every aspect of the gift met the princess's known preferences. They even considered the timing of the gift, knowing that the presentation could enhance the emotional impact. Their discussions were filled with thoughtfulness, a sense of purpose, and a shared understanding of the significance of the moment they were creating. One advisor in particular felt a deep sense of responsibility. They knew that this gift would be remembered not just for its immediate delight, but for the care, attention, and understanding that it represented. Every decision, every consultation, and every adjustment was made with this principle in mind. It was a careful orchestration, a dance of logistics and emotion designed to ensure that Princess Anne's reaction would be genuine, heartfelt, and memorable. Even the most ordinary-seeming elements were considered with great care. The wrapping paper had to reflect elegance without being ostentatious. The ribbon had to be neat, precise, and perfectly tied. A small note or card accompanying the gift was crafted to convey warmth, appreciation, and thoughtfulness. In every detail, the team sought to express respect, understanding, and affection for the princess, creating an experience that would resonate deeply and leave a lasting impression. Outside the palace, the winter weather added to the atmosphere. Snow fell gently, blanketing the gardens and walkways in soft white, while the trees stood silent, their branches glistening with frost. The quiet beauty of the season reflected the careful, deliberate work happening within the palace walls. Just as the snow transformed the landscape into something magical, the efforts of the advisors and staff were transforming the simple act of giving into something extraordinary. In the midst of these preparations, the sense of anticipation continued to build. Staff members whispered among themselves, sharing their hopes that the princess would truly appreciate the gift. They imagined her expression when she saw it, the rare smile that conveyed joy, surprise, and heartfelt appreciation. It was a moment that none of them wanted to miss, a glimpse of genuine delight that would be remembered for years to come. As Christmas drew closer, the palace seemed to hum with quiet excitement. Lights shimmered along corridors, the scent of festive treats lingered in every room, and the soft rustle of paper and ribbon echoed through the halls. Everyone involved in the gift's preparation moved with purpose, yet also with joy, knowing that they were part of something meaningful. They were creating not just a present, but a memory, a moment of connection and delight that would become part of Princess Anne's cherished experiences. Even Princess Anne, immersed in her daily life, felt the subtle anticipation in the air. She noticed the little details, the extra care in arranging decorations, the gentle laughter of staff, the warmth of shared moments, and appreciated the thoughtfulness behind every action. She knew that Christmas at Buckingham Palace was always special, but this year there was a sense of something more, something quietly extraordinary that promised a unique and memorable experience. The careful planning, thoughtful consultations, and meticulous attention to detail were all part of a larger story, a story of people working together to create joy for someone they admired and respected. It was not about wealth, grandeur, or public recognition. It was about care, understanding, and the quiet power of thoughtful giving. Every action, every decision, and every choice contributed to a single goal: to make Princess Anne feel truly delighted, valued, and cherished during the most magical season of the year. The morning of Christmas arrived quietly at Buckingham Palace, but there was a special energy in the air. Outside, the gardens and courtyards were blanketed in a soft layer of snow, each flake sparkling in the pale light of dawn. The trees were heavy with frost, and the pathways gleamed white, creating a peaceful winter wonderland. Inside the palace, the halls were alive with the subtle bustle of activity. The staff moved quietly but with purpose, checking details, adjusting decorations, and ensuring that every element of the holiday was perfect. Princess Anne awoke early, as she often did, with a sense of calm anticipation. She had spent decades learning to balance her duties with personal time, and she cherished moments like this when the day was hers, at least in part, to enjoy quietly with her family. The palace was still, the corridors filled only with the soft sounds of footsteps from early risers preparing for the day. The scent of pine from the Christmas trees mingled with the warmth of the fireplaces, creating a comforting and festive atmosphere. Unlike the excitement that might sweep through ordinary households, the atmosphere at Buckingham Palace was measured, serene, and refined. Yet beneath this calm, there was a quiet sense of expectation. Princess Anne herself felt it. She knew that Christmas at the palace was always special, not just because of the grandeur or the traditions, but because of the care and thoughtfulness that went into every detail. She was aware, too, that gifts were not chosen lightly here. Every present carried meaning, thought, and effort. The family gathered in the private chambers, a small, intimate group despite the usual size of the royal household. The room was softly lit, the fireplace glowing, and the Christmas tree standing proudly in its corner, adorned with ornaments, lights, and carefully tied ribbons. Each decoration was selected with care, reflecting both tradition and a subtle elegance that suited the family perfectly. The atmosphere was warm, quiet, and full of the gentle anticipation that accompanies the exchange of thoughtful gifts. The first gifts were opened with polite curiosity, as Princess Anne moved gracefully from package to package. She acknowledged each with her characteristic composure, offering small smiles, nods of appreciation, and words of thanks. These gestures were sincere, even if understated, reflecting the princess's thoughtful and measured nature. She enjoyed the ritual, the sense of family connection, and the quiet joy of giving and receiving, knowing that every present had been chosen with care. Then came the moment that everyone had been waiting for. A package, carefully wrapped in elegant paper and tied with a precise ribbon, was presented to her. The wrapping was simple, yet refined, suggesting that the contents were as thoughtful as the presentation itself. The princess paused for a moment, sensing that this gift was special. Her eyes, sharp and observant, scanned the package. She could tell immediately that someone had put time, thought, and care into this choice. With deliberate grace, Princess Anne began to unwrap the present. Each layer of paper was removed carefully, as if prolonging the anticipation just slightly to savor the moment. The soft rustle of paper, the gentle tug of ribbon, and the subtle anticipation of what lay inside created a sense of quiet drama. Those gathered nearby watched respectfully, knowing that this was a moment of personal significance, one that would be remembered for years to come. When the final layer was removed, her eyes fell upon the gift. There was a brief pause as recognition and surprise settled across her face. Then, slowly, a genuine smile appeared. It was a smile that few outside her family had ever seen, a rare glimpse of pure delight. The gift had touched her deeply, reflecting not just her interests and passions, but also the thoughtfulness, care, and understanding of the person who had chosen it. This was no ordinary present. It was an expression of connection and attention, carefully tailored to her tastes and personality. The room seemed to glow a little brighter as the princess examined the gift. She lifted it carefully, turning it in her hands, appreciating every detail. The texture, the craftsmanship, the personal touches. It was evident that the item had been selected with extraordinary care. Her expression reflected not only delight but also admiration. She saw the effort, the planning, and the thoughtfulness behind the present, and she valued that even more than the gift itself. There were moments of quiet conversation as she asked questions, admired the fine details, and shared her thoughts. Those present noticed the sparkle in her eyes, the warmth in her tone, and the unmistakable joy that radiated from her. This was a private, intimate moment, yet it was filled with emotion, laughter, and the kind of heartfelt appreciation that comes from being truly understood. The gift itself reflected her passions and character. It resonated with her love for animals, her dedication to equestrian pursuits, or her interest in history and meaningful craftsmanship. The choice had been made not just for utility or beauty, but for its personal connection to her life and experiences. This careful alignment between gift and personality was what made the moment so extraordinary, elevating it from a simple exchange of objects to a deeply felt experience of joy and recognition. As she continued to explore the present, Princess Anne's reactions were subtle yet expressive. Her fingers traced the intricate details, her voice carried admiration, and her eyes lit up with genuine curiosity. There was no exaggeration, no artificial delight, only sincere happiness. Those around her could feel the significance of the moment, understanding that the gift had successfully captured the essence of who she was, while also showing the care and thought that went into its selection. The family members and staff present shared in her joy. They witnessed her reactions with quiet satisfaction, knowing that their efforts had succeeded. There was laughter, soft conversation, and a shared sense of contentment. It was a moment that strengthened bonds, created memories, and underscored the value of thoughtful giving. Even in a life filled with public appearances, responsibilities, and protocol, these intimate moments were precious, allowing Princess Anne to experience joy in its purest form. As the morning progressed, the princess continued to explore her gift. She appreciated not only its immediate appeal, but also its potential to bring enjoyment in the days and weeks ahead. She considered how it could be used, admired, or integrated into her daily life. Every aspect, from its craftsmanship to its thoughtful details, was appreciated with quiet enthusiasm. It was clear to all who observed that this was a gift that would hold meaning far beyond the initial moment of unwrapping. The advisors and staff who had played a role in selecting and preparing the gift felt a deep sense of satisfaction. They had succeeded not only in choosing something the princess would enjoy, but also in creating a moment of genuine delight. Their careful planning, consultations, and attention to detail had paid off, producing a reaction that was both authentic and heartfelt. For them, this was the true reward, witnessing Princess Anne's happiness and knowing that their efforts had created a cherished memory. Princess Anne's reaction was more than just pleasure at receiving a gift. It was recognition of the thought, care, and understanding behind it. She saw the time and effort that had gone into every decision, the attention to her interests, and the respect for her tastes and personality. In this way, the gift became a symbol of connection, a tangible expression of thoughtfulness that transcended its physical form. It reminded her that even in a life filled with responsibilities, ceremonial duties, and public attention, there was room for personal joy, intimate understanding, and heartfelt appreciation. The moment also reinforced the importance of family and community. The quiet, thoughtful exchange highlighted the bonds between Princess Anne and those around her. The family members who shared the mourning, the staff who had worked diligently behind the scenes, and the advisors who had dedicated themselves to finding the perfect gift. In witnessing her delight, they experienced a shared sense of achievement and fulfillment, knowing that they had contributed to a meaningful and memorable celebration. Even after the initial excitement of unwrapping, the princess returned to her gift throughout the day, examining details, reflecting on its significance, and expressing gratitude. She appreciated not only the object itself, but also the thoughtfulness, planning, and care that had gone into its selection. It became a symbol of personal connection, a reminder of the quiet but profound joys of thoughtful giving. Throughout the rest of Christmas Day, Princess Anne's enjoyment of the gift continued to be evident. She spoke of it with admiration and affection, shared her appreciation with family members, and took moments of quiet reflection to savor its meaning. The gift had succeeded in creating not only immediate delight, but also lasting memories, demonstrating the power of thoughtfulness, care, and understanding. As evening fell and the palace settled into the calm rhythm of night, the sense of fulfillment lingered. Princess Anne reflected on the day with quiet contentment, appreciating both the gift itself and the deeper meaning it represented. She felt a sense of connection, gratitude, and personal joy that would remain with her long after the festivities ended. The gift had accomplished more than anyone could have hoped. It had touched her heart, reflected her values and passions, and created a moment of genuine delight that would be remembered for years to come. As Christmas Day moved toward its quiet evening, the palace gradually settled into a soft, peaceful rhythm. Outside, the snowfall had slowed to gentle flakes, covering the gardens, pathways, and trees in a delicate white blanket. The winter air was crisp and still, creating a serene backdrop to the warmth within Buckingham Palace. Inside, the rooms glowed softly from the remaining Christmas lights, and the gentle crackle of the fireplaces filled the halls with a comforting, home-like sound. The day had been filled with laughter, warmth, and intimate moments, but it was the quiet reflections afterward that carried the deepest meaning. Princess Anne, after the flurry of gift exchanges and morning festivities, retreated to a quieter corner of the palace, seeking a moment of personal reflection. In the privacy of her study, she examined the gift she had received earlier with renewed attention. It was more than an object. It had become a symbol of thoughtfulness, care, and connection. The effort, attention to detail, and understanding behind the present spoke to her in a way that few material things could. She felt a warmth in her heart, a quiet sense of happiness that came not from luxury or grandeur, but from the personal significance of the gift and the care of those who had chosen it. In her life, Princess Anne had witnessed many events, received countless presents, and attended numerous celebrations, yet moments like these were rare. The simplicity and sincerity of the experience made it extraordinary. She thought about the people who had contributed to this moment, the advisors who had researched and consulted, the artisans who had crafted and prepared, and the staff who had ensured that every detail was perfect. Their dedication had transformed a simple act of giving into something deeply meaningful, and she felt gratitude not only for the gift itself, but for the thought, effort, and love that had gone into creating it. As she held the gift, Princess Anne considered what made it so special. It was not merely its beauty, craftsmanship, or practicality. What mattered most was the understanding it represented. The choice reflected knowledge of her passions, her interests, and the quiet joys that filled her daily life. It demonstrated that the people who had selected it truly saw her, not just as a member of the royal family, but as an individual with unique tastes, values, and emotions. This understanding, she realized, was the greatest gift of all. Her thoughts drifted to the role of thoughtful giving in human relationships. In a world that often measured value by grandeur or expense, she recognized that true meaning lay in the consideration behind an action. A carefully chosen gift, an unexpected gesture of kindness, or a moment of sincere attention could create joy far greater than any material possession. The experience she had just enjoyed reminded her of this timeless truth, reinforcing the importance of care, empathy, and attention to detail in connecting with others. Princess Anne also reflected on the broader significance of Christmas itself. Beyond the decorations, the music, and the festive treats, the season was about connection, gratitude, and shared joy. The act of giving, especially when done with thoughtfulness and intention, carried a unique power. It had the ability to touch hearts, create memories, and strengthen bonds. In her quiet study, the princess appreciated how this particular gift had embodied all of these values. It was a reminder that the most profound experiences were often simple, sincere, and personal. The day had offered many moments of joy, laughter, and warmth, but the gift stood out as a highlight. Its significance extended beyond the immediate pleasure of unwrapping. It became a symbol of the quiet, enduring happiness that arises when someone truly understands and values another person. Princess Anne held the gift close, feeling a sense of connection that transcended words. It was a tangible expression of thoughtfulness, and in that moment she felt a deep appreciation not only for the present itself, but for the people who had made it possible. As the evening drew on, the palace became quieter. The staff, having completed their tasks for the day, moved about with subdued energy, tidying rooms and ensuring that everything was in order for the following day. Princess Anne took a moment to reflect on the collective effort that had gone into creating this Christmas. From the meticulous preparation of the rooms to the careful selection of gifts, every detail had been considered with intention and care. The result was a day that felt both festive and personal, a celebration that balanced tradition with intimate moments of connection. The princess thought about the joy she had felt when unwrapping her gift. The surprise, the admiration, and the heartfelt delight were all feelings that would linger with her long after the holiday season had ended. She realized that these moments of genuine emotion were rare and precious, especially in a life often marked by protocol, duty, and public attention. The gift had provided an opportunity to experience pure, personal happiness, a joy that was private, sincere, and deeply meaningful. In reflecting further, Princess Anne considered the lesson this experience offered about the nature of thoughtful giving. A gift, no matter how simple, could carry immense value if it reflected understanding, attention, and care. The effort to know someone well, to consider their tastes and passions, and to express that understanding through a thoughtful gesture created a connection that went far beyond the material object itself. She felt that this principle applied not only to gifts but to everyday interactions, how one listened, how one acknowledged others, and how one acted with empathy and intention. Her reflections also included gratitude for the people around her. The advisors, staff, and family members who had contributed to this special moment had done so quietly, without expectation of recognition. Their dedication and thoughtfulness had transformed a simple gift into a lasting memory. Princess Anne felt a profound appreciation for their efforts, recognizing the importance of collaboration, care, and shared purpose in creating meaningful experiences. She realized that such moments strengthened the bonds of family and community, leaving lasting impressions that endured long after the day itself. As night fell and the palace grew still, Princess Anne continued to ponder the significance of the day. She thought about the many layers of preparation, the subtle details, and the deliberate attention that had gone into making this Christmas special. Each choice, from the wrapping to the presentation to the careful selection of the gift itself, had been made with thought and care. The result was not only a joyful moment, but also a memory that would be cherished and revisited in her thoughts for years to come. She also reflected on the broader meaning of the holiday season. Christmas, she realized, was not simply about decorations, feasts, or ceremonies. It was about thoughtfulness, connection, and the quiet moments of shared joy that created lasting memories. The day had reminded her that meaningful gestures did not require extravagance or grandeur. Instead, they required attention, understanding, and a genuine desire to bring happiness to others. This insight, she knew, was one that could guide both her personal life and her interactions with the world around her. In this quiet reflection, Princess Anne felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. The gift had been more than an object. It had been a vessel for thoughtfulness, a symbol of understanding, and a tangible expression of care. It reminded her that even in a life filled with public duties, there was space for intimate, personal joy. The happiness it had brought was not fleeting. It would endure, becoming part of her collection of cherished memories and meaningful experiences. She also considered how this experience could inspire her own actions. Thoughtfulness, she realized, was not limited to receiving. It could be extended to others. Small gestures, careful attention to detail, and sincere understanding could create joy for those around her, just as this gift had created joy for her. She felt a renewed sense of appreciation for the power of kindness, thoughtfulness, and genuine care in fostering meaningful relationships. Throughout the evening, Princess Anne returned to her gift several times, each time appreciating it anew. She admired its craftsmanship, reflected on the thought behind it, and felt a quiet sense of connection with the people who had chosen it. This ongoing appreciation reinforced the idea that thoughtful gestures could create enduring joy, far beyond the initial moment of surprise. It was a lesson in the lasting impact of care, attention, and personal understanding. By the time the night had fully settled, the palace was enveloped in calm and quiet. The snow outside glistened faintly under the moonlight, and the halls inside reflected the soft glow of Christmas lights. Princess Anne, sitting comfortably with her gift nearby, reflected on the day with gratitude, joy, and a sense of fulfillment. The experience had been more than a celebration. It had been a reminder of the power of thoughtfulness, the value of personal connection, and the enduring joy that arises from sincere care and understanding. In these quiet moments, Princess Anne understood that this Christmas had been exceptional not because of grandeur or ceremony, but because of the simple, heartfelt gestures that had made it personal and meaningful. The gift had achieved something remarkable. It had touched her heart, reflected her passions, and created a memory that would last a lifetime. She felt a profound sense of gratitude for the people who had made it possible, recognizing their dedication, thoughtfulness, and care. As the palace settled into night, Princess Anne carried the warmth of the day with her. She understood that the true magic of Christmas lay not in material wealth or public spectacle, but in the thoughtful gestures, sincere connections, and moments of genuine delight that could be created with care and attention. The gift she had received embodied these values perfectly, leaving her with a deep sense of happiness, appreciation, and enduring joy. The quiet reflection of that night allowed her to fully absorb the significance of the experience. She felt connected not only to the gift itself, but to the people, effort, and thoughtfulness behind it. The lesson was clear. It is the care and understanding in giving that create the most lasting impact, transforming ordinary objects and moments into memories that endure. This understanding, she knew, would stay with her long after the holidays, influencing the way she approached relationships, celebrations, and acts of kindness in her life. By the end of the night, Princess Anne rested with a sense of contentment, gratitude, and inner peace. The gift had brought joy, yes, but it had also brought reflection, connection, and a renewed appreciation for the power of thoughtful giving. It had become a cherished memory, a story of care and attention that would stay with her forever. In the quiet glow of the palace, surrounded by the serenity of winter, she understood that this Christmas had provided something far more meaningful than any material possession. It had offered a moment of genuine delight, personal connection, and heartfelt joy.